This Sculpto introduction video is about post-processing. That is what you can do after you've finished printing. I have a few tools that I usually use. I have this, it's a cheese knife or something. I use it to separate the print from the build plate. I started a pen sheet earlier and I chose to cancel it and it just slides right off. So, yeah, I wasn't using it for cheese anyways. It was part of a set, so I have that. You have seen me use this. If I say have something like this, this has a lot of things around here. I can choose to use this to just cut the worst of them off, because a knife will pull at it, and if you just like tuck at things, you risk, like, these are pretty thin around here, you can see, so you risk breaking them basically. So just like cutting off the worst things. Then I have this standard hobby knife. Well, they're standard in Denmark anyways. Sometimes prints will have these, let's see if I can get a good angle at it. Here. It does not quite want to focus on this now, does it? Okay, but it has these things. Okay, let's just see if I can make it do what I want. Here. Have these ridges, and they happen sometimes for me. They are quite normal. At least I've learned to just check out for them, and I just basically run the knife along the print and I just get them off that way. Same thing with the corners. And it's, you know, it's a thing that happens if, yeah, well, they can happen if, like, if you have too tight a calibration somewhere, or if where it's supposed to place the filament is not there, then it will put it off somewhere else. I have these like indentations. These are for placing miniatures for a game called Tang Garden. And I'll just, can't do that midair. Okay. But these blobs can happen like in these things. There's one right here, don't know if you can see it. And I basically just like run this along there. They're not usually difficult to get off. And if you've had somewhere where you need to cut off a bit of material, you can find that it becomes a bit mate. And if you have like stringing and such, you want to remove the worst of it. And then this is the lighter. It has a long tip, and it's actually a storm lighter, but I recommend something with you know, like a, yeah, something with a neck, because that way you don't have to have your fingers right up near the print. I have a bit of like things hanging out here, and I just start my print, start this, and I just run it quickly over. Don't keep it anywhere for too long at a time, and remember, heat goes up. And then when I've done this, if you have strings that are not attached to anything, they will usually bunch up, and I simply run this over again to get all these newly formed ones off. I mean, it's not always necessary. If there's nothing there, then there's nothing there, and if it's somewhere that's not important, like the subside of something, then I mean, it doesn't really matter. Don't use too much time on it. and then I might run the lighter over it again. If you've, see if I can make an example here. There we go. You can see how I've made some scrapes there and they have a different color. Quick work with the lighter. Now it has the same color. It still has the scratches, but the color is the same. So if you've cut something and you've made a scrape and you're like, oh, I wasn't intending to paint this, lighter might be your savior. So that's the physical post-processing of the actual print. You can choose to color your print. If I must color things, I prefer not to, because paint takes time to dry, and usually when I print something, I want it done yesterday. This polar bear is printed in some dark color. Can I tell? I can tell. I just use a random spray paint. It works really great as a grounding. And then I just took a permanent marker, painted on it. There are some people going, oh, you can just paint on things with a permanent marker. And sure, you can. My experience is that it does come off. It can get like worn off, so you may want to seal it with something. Yeah. Be aware that 3D prints are not necessarily watertight. So if you were to make, say, a self-watering planter, then, yeah, and yes, I've done that. I have one of those. I have more than one of those. You may want to put some, not sure. Here goes the phone. Some like lacquer or something on the inside of it to keep it watertight. That being said, you can't be sure that prints are watertight or airtight either. If it's a small thing, you can use something like nail polish. But I do have a few small objects that are around it. I use them for levelers in soap dispensers. And they're small enough and soap is thick enough that it doesn't come through the cracks. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and if it doesn't hold water or air and you need it to, you need to add like a lacquer or something. But that's post-processing for you.